Bark. Heck. Bjork.
To be honest, the most important thing is looking cool.
It really is, though. Look at these skeletons. This fucking, like, battle line of skelemens.
Oh no,
hype.
don't kill the skeletons. Can't you negotiate with them? Throw them a
I
bone.
fucking wish I could. Holy shit.
It's reminding me of Fight Night. That game is going to be really great when it finally comes out.
Fight Night. Shit, I think
Yeah, it's
I've
by,
seen bits. Oh, Fight Night with a K. Yeah.
Yeah. It's about the night that punches
God.
everything.
Go look at that fucking game right now. If you're watching
yeah.
this, holy shit.
Fight Night is great stuff. There's the guy's channel on YouTube is Bonesaw, but it's spelled B-O-E-N Saw.
Boensaw.
Boensaw? Yes.
That's good.
He has videos from Fight Night up on it, but
Oh my god.
it's about a night.
Got a bone breast?
Fighting. You punch skelemans. It's a good game.
Why did you give me that? I got a fucking bone breast?
What?
I guess I can wear their rib cage as armor now. That's cool.
That's
Fucked up.
mildly disturbing. Did that
Love
skeleton survive giving you that?
I mean, it did survive the battle, so hell no.
They can reassemble, right?
Ooh, what is it?
Right?
Right. Vitality and defense, that's alright. I wish. I really hope. I should have absorbed the skeletons, because you can get, you can learn, death synthesis, which is literally just the spawn version of photosynthesis. It's when there's no light, you actually regenerate HP. Yeah, it's called death synthesis, and it's fucking radical.
Death synthesis! So you just listen to death metal and regain HP?
Yeah, it just gives you a natural, gives monster characters a natural HP regen every turn if they're in a battlefield marked as not having natural light. There's so much invisible, goofy JRPG shit in this game. It's amazing. And I learned all of this, like, for the LP, when I was like, I gotta know how to play this fucking game, right?
Yeah.
I learned all this, thanks to a guide written by somebody named Zeracthius, and they were working on it up until at least, like, 2002. And what this motherfucker did is they decompiled the entire fucking game, the entire ISO of the game into assembly, and dumped all of the data, formatted it by hand all into tables and shit, and dumped the entire game, not just as, like, tables of data, but also wrote a guide that was 1.5 meg of raw text to explain not just all the tables, but the exact arithmetic of every fucking, like, useful function call. Like, the exact arithmetic of, like, how sparking, like, learning new abilities is checked.
Oh, right. I remember you talking about that.
All this good shit. Like, that was a lot of fucking work to do for a game, and it's real handy, let me tell you.
That is impressive.
But I never would have learned all of this wacky, invisible shit that never gets explained if they hadn't done it. If they hadn't done all that.
Yeah, no, I believe it. JRPGs are notoriously bad at explaining this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Like, and that, like, even beyond just the, like, the you know, being notoriously bad at explaining it, it's they never did explain it, and I take that to be due to the fact that they would have to put in 7 versions of the same tutorial, and they didn't really put in any one of them, and they were cutting a bunch of shit out for time, so they're like, alright, look, we gotta get the big budget, the big ticket moments of the stories in, cut out all the tutorials. Which sucks, but hey.
Yeah, well. Cutting out tutorials is, in my experience, not necessarily such a bad thing for games. You either get... I think, honestly, cutting out tutorials in games can be beneficial. In a lot of cases, it's going to self-select for... You're going to be self-selecting, effectively, for players that already are smart. Now, if you're an indie, that's stupid. Because if you're an indie, you need to cater to every brain-dead moron who licks the Steam Discovery queue button.
Yeah.
And then puts it in with his Ledo flakes every morning to destroy his frontal lobe.
Ledo
But
fucking A.
Like, yeah, I mean, Brigador is a great example of this. Full disclosure, I am a vague acquaintance of Hugh, the guy who does.
Oh, Brigador's fantastic. But I think I can see what you're saying. Go on.
But yeah, anyway, I attended his talk at GDC last year, which, if you can check it out, it should be up on the internet somewhere. It's called All Systems No. It's great. it's a close to an hour-long sort of flagellation session where he goes over everything that went wrong with Brigador's launch. And there's a lot of things to talk about, but one of the biggest problems they had with Brigador was that it looks like a twin-stick shooter, and it's not a twin-stick shooter, and it's not even close to a twin-stick
It is
shooter.
communicating what they are to players and to people who are, like, potentially buying the game or getting hyped for it.
Yes, but also, I firmly believe that even if you unintentionally misrepresent what a game is, if you put the effort into train the player on what your game is, they can get used to it pretty quickly. So if you, for example, people might buy Valhalla thinking it's a visual novel and not realizing that it's a sort of bartending whatever the fuck. Also, in addition to that, and they might go, ugh, I don't want to mix drinks. This is retarded. I hate this.
Yeah.
And, yeah, they might hate that. But if you go forward with teaching them what you're doing and doing a
We
good...
got the ring. Okay, here. Oh, look, a nice butt shot of this fucking monster child.
The monster butts are butts, too.
I forgot
Cool.
they got full on Yoshitaka Amano to do the goddamn art, all those splash pages.
Yeah,
of this
that's
game.
right. Yeah, that's right. I remember seeing those. It's like it's too bad they couldn't translate the very JoJo-esque aesthetic into the horrible pixel graphics of the PS1.
Right? It's a fucking damn shame.
The art for this game is so inconsistent. It's crazy how inconsistent it is. It has it's charming. Now it's charming to see that because you go, oh, that's cute. It's like, oh, it's so weird.
And you can totally tell, right? Because here's the thing. Ricky also for some reason, I guess because they figured, look, you're not gonna see that form very often. That sprite, the human boy sprite, in the menu anyway, is a 3D render. It looks like. A lot of the characters, especially nothing side characters, are 3D renders. Like Gen on the bottom there, the samurai, he's a fucking 3D render. Lou, the sprite art. Like, all the characters that are meaningful, the main characters and everything, are sprite art. Everybody else is just a shit 3D render, and it's fucking hilarious.
I think what they were going to do originally was sort of like... It's ironically, this is what... I'm
not going to do much of the scrap shop, by the way. Just enough to get equipped. Go on.
Yeah. Ironically, that's sort of what SNK Playmore did with King of Fighters for a long time, which is they would block out the animation with a crap 3D render for the characters. Then they'd go frame by frame with that, and then they'd draw the sprite art over that, which is why KOF 13 and stuff looked so utterly amazing, because you have really talented animators doing some amazing animations, and then you have incredibly talented sprite artists going over those animations with exhaustive, shockingly beautiful detail, and then they threw that all away because it took too long. And it's just so infuriating, because one of the few things that KOF had going for it, aside from everyone going, isn't that the South American fighting game?
Oh, man.
All people know about KOF is, those poor countries in South America play it. It must be terrible. But, it's a great game, but one of the things KOF consistently had going for it over Street Fighter was, at least KOF looks really, really good. And Street Fighter doesn't necessarily look very good.
Yeah, not all the time.
5. So, and then they threw that out. Very sad. It was very sad. Everyone's very sad.
Oh, that's. I was trying to figure out what that was about, because I remembered hearing about, like, oh man, all the sprites are bad this year or something like that.
Yeah, it's not. They're not even sprites.
Was it KOF 14? That was like different.
I think it's 14.
Yeah. Everybody was mad about how it looked, and I'm like, oh no, it looks all right to me.
It should be.
But with the added context of, like, KOF 13? Had a very signature, very consistent look. Yeah, I can totally understand 13, now why people were like annoyed.
13 is really impressive because they had this thing in 13 where when there was a cancel that you could pop, and it would zoom the camera in, and you would get double-sized characters. And when that happened, oh my god, the art was shockingly beautiful.
Holy shit, that's nice.
It zoomed in double-sized, and you would just be like, wow, every single fucking fold of Kim's gi is there. Like, Every single fucking fold. It's like a cloth sim running.
Did they
except someone
redraw
drew that.
all of those? So they redrew
Yeah.
every single frame, right? Because that could happen at
Every
any
frame.
point. That could happen at
redrew
any point
every
in the
frame.
game. Oh my god.
They drew every single frame. So when you look at
What the
Kim
fuck?
Patwan and he's bouncing from foot to foot and he's got that loose gi and loose pants flopping back and forth, someone drew every single cloth fold on that. And that's one of the reasons KOF has consistently looked absolutely fucking amazing, because you have characters like that and people are not afraid to
Give me a laser knife.
make
dang it.
absolutely ridiculous art like that. I mean, Garu is another great example where you have characters like Bon Janet who have like incredibly bizarre clothing where you're looking at it, you're like, how the fuck are you even gonna? And then you look at the animation,
Yeah.
you're like, oh yeah, look at that, that's pretty great. I mean, even a character as simple as Terry Bogard, where he's got that hair sticking out of the back of his baseball cap, that's tough. You know, he's doing a backflip or whatever, and you have to look at that hair and go, okay, where's that hair gonna go when he does a backflip? But they do it, and
Nice.
then you
There we
and then
go.
you get
There's
the
my
characters like Duo Lon, who has like smoke projectiles and shit, and that is just whew. Yeah, Duo Lon has these like weird poison smoke projectiles that he shoots, and that is just ridiculous. Like I don't understand how they did that, because that stuff is just shocking at how pretty it is. If you just pause and look at it, you're like, my god, how did someone draw that?
Neat.
Absolutely gorgeous stuff. And the backgrounds are no slouches either, you know.
Well, you
And
know
then
what?
they did
That
KOF
makes sense
14.
because the art that you have to make for that game, right, is character sprites, backgrounds, maybe
Oh yeah, I mean, you don't have
effects.
that much.
Like yeah, so when you put big budget into a fighting game, you know, it's gonna sell. There's not a lot of places for the art to go other than like, hey yo, you've got literally all week to do the frames for this one attack. Take your
Well,
time.
that's not going to be enough usually.
Yeah, you
And
know
that's
what I
the
mean.
problem.
I
Especially if you
meant
have
that
something
to be
like-
hyperbole, but yeah, you get.
No, I
you
know,
get the gist.
yeah. But yeah, it's nuts. It's nutty stuff. I mean, there's a great comparison we can have now, which is if anybody still have Capcom versus SNK 2 kicking around, or some videos of that. Geese Howard just came out in
Yeah.
Tekken 7. Apparently, he got released
Mhm.
earlier.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah,
Geese Howard. Wow.
I'm digging. Because Tekken.
Mm,
Because
true.
Harada likes things, and Harada wants things in Tekken. And unlike Ono, Harada just embraces the insanity full on and goes, "Open that goddamn puzzle box, hit me with them chains," you know.
Hit me with them
Harada
chains,
just walks
girl.
up to Pinhead and hugs him. He's like, "Hey man, welcome to the fun dojo." And Pinhead's just like, what? You know,
fucked up.
Ono opens the puzzle box and is like, "Oh god, please don't murder me. I've already been to the hospital 6 times this year." And Harada just like whips off his sunglasses and hugs the Cenobite and goes, let's have fun in the fun dojo right now. Cenobites have no clue how to deal with him.
Nice. You know what I was wondering
so
now?
Geese appears in Tekken.
That's dope.
And so you compare him in Tekken to his appearance in Capcom vs. SNK 2 or Garu, and it's more primitive in those games, but you see a fluidity of motion and a depth of color and movement representation that is so difficult to get in it with 3D character models. There's just all this stuff with 3D modeling
I was
and lighting.
just gonna say,
It's hard to fake.
have the Guilty Gear people hired a full-on, have hired Blackwater to keep their fucking filters like secret yet?
Yeah, well, actually,
'Cause their shit looks so good. It's like probably some really highly sought-after trade secret, right?
Sort of. There's the one of the interesting things about oh god, what is it? Sign. That's right. Sign is the current one. No,
Actually,
it's not
I'll need
Sign.
four.
Oh god, what? I don't even know what Guilty Gear game is current anymore. But anyway, I saw a cool art
What else do I
presentation from
need?
GDC on the Guilty Gear art style and how they changed over to 3D models. And I'll be honest with you, there are deficiencies in the 3D models. There's shit that goes weird with those 3D models that I can see from having played the earlier Guilty Gear games. There are not many of them. It's impressive, and some things are actually more impressive in 3D. Like Soul's Dragon install is way more impressive in 3D than it ever was in 2D, which is impressive in and of itself. But one of the things that they do is they treat the 3D models like sprites, in the sense that they often manipulate the model itself frame by frame. They don't just animate it, but for a lot of the victory poses and stuff,
because they know it's going to be seen edge on.
Right. Well, it's not even just edge on, it's they know exactly where the camera's going to be, so they actually grotesquely distort the models frame by frame in a lot of cases.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like smear frames. Don't look at one frame still. It's supposed to be seen in motion.
Well, but it's not even just don't look at one frame still. It's you can look at one frame still, like for, Faust's little, like, air attack where he claps below him. If you pause the game and turn the camera around, and they did this in the presentation, you can pause the game and unlock the camera and look, and you could see that they're actually deforming his entire model. They're deforming his character model when he does that. They're not just animating his hands.
Yeah, that's what I
clap.
figured you meant. That's really cool.
Yeah, they're morphing his hands bigger, and they're doing all this other shit. So, like, for May's victory pose, where she, like, does that sort of, like, Shoryuken type thing where her fist is up near the camera and it's looking down on her. If you rotate the camera out around there, which they also did, you can see her fist is like twice the size of her body and all this other shit. And her
that's what I
body
figured
is,
you
like,
meant.
It's a curly cue.
That's so good. I like that a lot.
It's really good. And they do all this stuff to replicate this otherwise unreplicable complete bullshit that you can do when you're just drawing lines. You're doing sprite art, you can fuck with whatever you like. You draw a line, it's there. But with a 3D model, you're
just taking the mesh and repositioning it, except if you're not. If
you're a perspective in your camera, and
unless you can like script, like vertex by vertex stretches and whatnot per frame of the animation, which, like you said, is kind of what they're doing.
That's what blend shapes are. Blend shapes are just groups of vertices that are called by a particular name, and then
skeleton robots. Right.
Yeah, you can just fuck with the verts using little names and handles instead of saying move vertex 5 billion to this coordinate. It is it all boils down
bulletproof
to
skeleton
down to that. It all boils down to moving verts to certain coordinates and not to other coordinates. But the tools we have now to do it are so sophisticated that you can just put a little green handle on them and go whoop, and then it's done.
Yeah.
Think about all the other insane bullshit that goes on behind the scenes to make that actually happen. Except when you do something really mundane like dance in Destiny 2, and then your character's cloak explodes off your back and disappears.
Okay, that should be enough.
Because, that's a thing.
Yeah. Let's get the fuck out of here. I'm not going to spend another, hour on screen anyway, grinding. It is pretty funny seeing some of the things that it's really interesting though, so that really distinct look that that Guilty Gear has is not just that they have amazing filters on their shit and drew specifically to use those filters to make it look like 2D sprites, but also that they're doing a lot of shit that when you look at it, it looks like they're animated the way 2D sprites are animated, because they're doing that weird, by frame stretching shit. That's actually really cool.
Yeah. It's not just
some sort of psychovisual effect.
Cell shading filter. Their cell shading filter is very important and is a large portion of that look, I'm sure.
10 credits. All right.
But it's not the whole thing. And it would have to be, because if you crack open Blender, you can get a passable toon filter in a day if you're really cranking on it. This is not a hard problem. We know intellectually and physically how to make that. It's really simple. You basically draw black lines on the outlines.
I guess that's a good place to start looking for fucking rings, isn't it? Look up fucking Ring Lord. No, look up the guy named Ring Lord in the giant burning castle city of Sparberg. Just look up Ring Lord in the fucking yellow pages.
Yep, that would be. That would be my second place that I would start.
Go fucking walk in the castle. He just screams from down the hall. Hey, you hear about the rings? Fucking hell.